Okay, is screen visible? Screen visible है क्या सर्वांना?
Yes, sir.
Okay, PPT this है qualitative estimation in my.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Today's practical topic is qualitative estimations in biochemistry, principles of reactions. Okay. So today, in today's lecture topic, we are going to discuss the practicals of biochemistry, right? Mainly, we will discuss how to perform reactions and principles of these reactions, right? So first, qualitative estimations of biomolecules. So under qualitative estimations, we can estimate carbohydrate, we can estimate proteins, we can estimate fats, right? Okay, carbohydrate, proteins, and fats we can estimate. So what is qualitative estimations? There are two types of estimations, right? Qualitative estimations and another is a quantitative estimation. Qualitative estimation is yes and no estimations, right? Means, for example, you are taking urine sample and whether glucose is present in that sample or not, that is qualitative estimation. If we say yes or no, that indicates qualitative estimations. And quantitative estimations means exact quantity of glucose in milligram per deciliter. If you are estimating, that is the quantitative estimations, right? So qualitative are basically having the like binary outcomes. Okay, so carbohydrates are there. So we have carbohydrates, proteins, and the fats. Qualitative estimations of carbohydrates. So first reaction is a Molish test. How to perform this test? So first we have to take 5 ml of the test solutions, then add 2 to 3 drops of Molish reagents in that solution, then mix it, and then add the 3 ml of the concentrated H2SO4. And if you are getting reddish violet ring, it indicates Molish test is a positive, right? So for carbohydrate, this test is positive. It gives the reddish violet ring. Okay, so most of qualitative tests are like this. You are mixing some reagents with intended test solution, and if you are getting positive positive color, that indicates that test is positive. For example, reddish violet ring is a positive indicator in this test. So if you are getting reddish violet color ring, it indicates that test is positive, right? So first is a pentose. So we have this pentose sugar 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 carbon sugar, pentose sugar we have. Next, we are adding H2SO4. What happens with the help of H2SO4? So H2SO4 has dehydrating action, right? So 3 water molecules are removed from this this pentose ring. So carbohydrates has a lot of OH present, hydroxyl group present, and EH is also present. So water molecules are removed from this pentose, and we get furfural, right? So this furfural compound we get, and with the help of alpha naphthenol in the present in the reagent. So Molish reagents contain alpha naphthenol. This furfural will give the purple ring color. Okay, so if this is our test, here we will getting purple ring color, right? So purple ring at the junction, it indicates that Molish test is a positive. Okay, so if pentose is there and you are getting this line, it means that pentose is present in that solution, right? But if some protein you are treating the Molish reagent with protein, we don't expect to get color like this, right? Purple color like this. So this Molish test is an indication that whether pentose is present or not. Okay. So for example, other example is that hexose, we have hexose here, and we are treating it with a H2SO4 concentrated sulfuric acid. What happens with the concentrated sulfuric acid? These 3 water molecules are being removed, and we get 5-hydroxymethyl furfural. Okay, with the concentrated H2SO4 action, we get 5-hydroxymethyl furfural, and this 5-hydroxymethyl furfural reacts with alpha naphthenol, and it also gives the purple ring color. Okay, so this indicates the carbohydrate is a present or not. Okay, so whether carbohydrate is a present in a given solution or not. For example, in the serum sample or in the urine sample, if carbohydrate are present or not, you can detect, right? So this is a Mollis test. Next test of carbohydrate estimation, qualitative estimation, is the Anthron test. What is the procedure? We take 2 ml of the test solution and we add 1 ml of the Anthron reagent by the side of the test tube. If you are adding 1 ml of Anthron reagent by side of test tube, we should observe the bluish green ring at the junction. If bluish green ring is observed at the junction, it means that Anthron test is a positive, means carbohydrate are present in this test. And what is the reaction? Why this bluish green color complex is formed? Okay, so any carbohydrate test, any qualitative test we are estimating, we are observing some color. And whenever we are saying principle of the test, means we are looking at the chemical reactions which are giving this bluish green color. So what is the purpose, how this bluish green color is observed? So here is the Anthron test principle. We have glucose here. So this is aldehyde group OH, OH, EHOH, EHOH, CH2OH. So we have glucose molecule. Lot of OH are present in this molecule, hydrogen present in this molecule. So whenever you are treating this glucose, D-glucose with concentrated H2SO4, what happens is that you are losing 3 water molecules, right? 3 water molecules you are losing, and you are getting hydroxymethyl furfural molecule, right? So this is hydroxymethyl furfural molecule. So this molecule will form. So between second carbon and fifth carbon, these are linked together by O bond oxygen, and this hydroxymethyl furfural, when reacts with anthron, it gives the bluish green color complex. So this is the reason we are getting bluish green color complex, right? We have certain carbohydrate with us, D-glucose, for example. We are treating with the concentrated H2SO4, and we are getting hydroxymethyl furfural. And this is again we are treating with the anthron reagent, and this anthron reagent will be ultimately giving the bluish green color complex. Okay, so that is why we are getting a ring at the junction, right? Now, next test is a Fehling's test. How to perform Fehling test? We have generally Fehling reagent A and Fehling reagent B. Okay, so 1 ml of Fehling reagent A we are taking. Then we are adding 1 ml of the Fehling reagent B. Then we are adding 0.5 ml of the test solution. Then we have to mix it, and heat it for the 2 to 5 minutes, right? In one test tube, you have to mix it all and heat for the 2 to 5 minutes in the boiling water bath. So you should observe yellow color or brownish red PPT. Okay, so if you are observing yellow or brownish red PPT, it means that this test is a positive for this carbohydrate, right? So next comes the question, why we are observing yellow color or the brownish red PPT? So that questions will answer our principle of the test, right? So we have glucose here, we have copper hydroxide here, 2Cu OH2, and we have sodium hydroxide here. In presence of tartrate ion, this gives sodium salt of gluconic acid. Okay, so this NO goes here, and this aldehyde groups get converted into the acidic group, COOH group, carboxylic group. Here to this carboxylic, this Na is attached, and now we are getting sodium salt of gluconic acid plus water, and we are getting this cuprous oxide PPT, Cu2O, this cuprous oxide PPT we are getting. And if you know, this cuprous oxide PPT has red in color, and we are getting red in color. Why? Because this cuprous oxide PPT is being formed, Cu2O PPT is being formed. So when this Cu2O PPT will form, if you are putting some fats or some extra molecule other than carbohydrate, we don't expect this reaction to forward in this direction, right? On the right direction. So we won't get cuprous oxide, and we won't get positive reaction. If you have glucose, then this copper hydroxide will react with this in the presence of sodium hydroxide and tartrate ion, and then we will get sodium salt of gluconic acid plus 3 water molecule plus red PPT. And this red PPT color we are observing as a indication of whether this test is a positive or negative, right? So that is the Fehling's test. So this one is a Fehling's test. Okay, cuprous hydroxide has a bluish color. So this negative test is a bluish in color, and positive test will appear like this on the right side. Positive test, cuprous oxide. This is the test which indicates that this carbohydrate is present in this solution, test solution. Okay. So this one is a negative, this one is a positive. Okay. So how you have performed this reaction? You have taken 1 ml of filling reagent 1, 1 ml of filling reagent 2, that is filling reagent A and B, and 0.5 ml of test solution, for example urine sample, and then you have mixed it and heated for 2 to 5 minutes. And if you are getting red color like this, means this test is a positive, right? Benedict test. Likewise, for the carbohydrate, we have Benedict test. We have to take 5 ml of the Benedict reagent. We have to add 0.5 ml test solution and mix and heat in boiling water bath for 5 minutes. And if you are observing green, red, or yellow, green, yellow, red, or brick red PPT, then it indicates that test is a positive. Okay, so that is the indication of test positive. So we have how this red color is coming positive, indicates positive. So this one is a reaction. Again, glucose combines with a 2 copper hydroxide ion, and then we are getting gluconic acid here. So this aldehyde group get converted into the carboxylic group. Then we get cuprous oxide. So this cuprous oxide has a reddish in color and 3 water molecule. So based on different glucose concentration, also this color sometimes varies. So if you have blue solutions, it indicates that no reducing sugar is present. If you have greenish solution, traces of reducing sugar may be present. If orange solution we observe, it means that moderate amount of the reducing sugar is present, right? If you are getting brick red color solution, it means large amount of the reducing sugar is present. Okay, so we don't get exactly concentration of the solution, but we get idea whether it is a less sugar, medium amount of sugar, or moderate amount of sugar. Some idea we can get. So based on this green, yellowish, orange, and the red color. Okay, so that is the Benedict test for the carbohydrate. So this one is a test. Blue color none, green or yellow PPT indicates the traces of reducing sugar, orange color indicates the moderate amount of sugar, brick red large amount of the reducing sugar. Okay. Next test is for the carbohydrate is the barcode test. We have to take 5 ml of the barcode test reagent, add 0.5 ml of the test reagent, and boil it for the 5 to 10 minutes. Okay. So 5 ml barcode reagent you are taking, adding 0.5 ml of the test solution, and you are boiling it for the 5 to 10 minutes in the boiling water bath. And if you observe brick red color, it indicates that test is positive, barcode test is positive. So what is the principle? So we have cupric acetate here. In the presence of water, it gives cuprous hydroxide. So cuprous hydroxide gives cupric oxide and the water on dissociation. This glucose in presence of cupric oxide gives gluconic acid plus cuprous oxide. Okay, so this reaction ultimately happens. Glucose plus this cuprous oxide combined here, we get gluconic acid plus cuprous oxide. So this test is a positive for this one, right? So this indicates the positive test. Barcode test, the test for monosaccharide. So this test, here reddish PPT we are observing here, xylose, glucose, and fructose. That is a monosaccharide. And if you don't observe any PPT, that is it may be the lactose or the sucrose. Okay, so this barcode test is a specific for the monosaccharide. Only monosaccharides gives positive. Selenops test. Here we are taking 0.5 ml of the Selenops reagent. We are adding 0.5 ml of the test solution. We are heating it in the boiling water bath for more than 1 minute, and we are getting pink or red PPT. If we are getting pink or red PPT, it indicates that Selenops test is a positive. Here fructose in the presence of concentrated HCl removes the 3 water molecule, and we get hydroxymethyl furfural. In the presence of resorcinol, condensation product, red product is formed. Okay, Selenops test is again same. The fructose molecule, so ketohexose molecule we are treating with the concentrated HCl, and then we are observing this hydroxymethyl furfural here. Okay, after loss of free water molecule, it is combining with resorcinol, and we get a red condensation product. That is why the test is positive. So if you have this aldose and ketosis is detected by Selenops, so we have Selenops test. This reddish color indicate positive, and this color indicate negative, right? So this one is a positive test. Next is a Osazone test. IML of the test sample we are taking. We are adding 10 drops of acetic acid. Okay, 10 drops of acetic acid we are adding to this one, and phenylhydrazine hydrochloride pinch we are adding to this same mixture. We have to add the double the above pinch of the sodium acetate crystal, then mix in the water but for 20 to 30 minutes, then cool under the tap water and observe the crystal under the microscope by tracking drops of solutions on the glass slide. Put the glass cover slip. Then if you are observing maltose is present in that test solution, then we will observe the triangular needle. If lactose is present, we will observe thin and heavy balls. Okay, in the under the microscope slide. So Osazone test very simple. High ml test solution we are taking 10 drops of acetic acid, pinch of phenylhydrazine hydrochloride, then double the above pinch of sodium acetate crystal, mix and boil in the water for 20 to 30 minutes. So little bit longer time you have to boil it. Then allow to cool under the tap water and observe the crystal on the slide by putting the cover slip. If you are observing triangular needle, that is a maltose, and if you are observing thin heavy balls, then that is a lactose. So how it we observe what here is the aldose. So what reactions happens in the Osazone formation is that we have Osazone formation reaction. This is aldose, and we are treating it with a phenylhydrazine. So this phenylhydrazine groups goes and attach to first carbon. It will go and attach to the second carbon, and we get Osazone formation. Likewise, in the ketone formation, this phenylhydrazine will go and attach to the first carbon. It will go and attach to the second carbon, and we will form the Osazone again. Okay, so that is how this reaction forms. So if you observe here, this after 2 carbons, this group remain unchanged, unaffected. This group remain unaffected. So that is a Osazone. Okay, so Osazone. So if you observe this compound and this compound, it will give the same Osazone, because this compound is basically, this remaining portion is basically same. Only 2 carbons are being attached with this one, right? So phenyl Osazone formation hydrazine attached with the first and second carbon here, giving the Osazone formation. Okay, so if you are observing the structure like this, needle-shaped glucosazone crystal observed under the microscope. So like this, needle-shaped glucosazone structures are observed. Galactosazone crystals viewed under the microscope are the rhombic plates. So these are the rhombic plates. Glucosazone structure. Okay, so this is the rhombic structure, right? Rhombus, all know the rhombus structure. So galactosazone gives the rhombus structure. If it is needle shape, glucosazone. So this looks like sunflower shape, right? So sunflower shape, all side it is emanating the structure. So sunflower shape is a maltosazone crystals. Under microscope, this can be observed. A powder puff structure, this will look like powder puffs. This structure is given by galactose. Okay, so these are different types of Osazones formed. So same reaction what we observed here, the D-glucose in the presence of this phenylhydrazine gives the D-Osazone. Here it will attach, here second carbon it will attach. If you have mannose, it will attach with this carbon, this article, it will give the common D-Osazone like structure. Okay, Osazone. Next is a iodine test. 5 ml of the star solution we are taking. 2 to 3 drops of dilute HCl we are adding. 5 drops of iodine we are adding in this solution. If you are observing bluish color, it is indicates starch. If you are observing red color, it means it is a glycogen. Okay, so it's very simple test, iodine test. Only 5 ml starch solution, 3 drops of dilute HCl, and 5 drops of the iodine. Blue color indicates starch, red color indicates glycogen. So this test is used for the starch. The iodine test requires the iodine solution, dissolve iodine in the potassium iodide. How to perform? Add iodine solution directly to food sample. So for example, potato is there. You can add this iodine solution on potato also, right? Potato contains a lot of starch. So we should observe this bluish color on it, right? Dark blue-black color indicates the presence of starch. So color formed is due to the absorption of adsorption of the starch or dextrin or glycogen with iodine rather than defined compound. So the little bit different principle of this reaction. Why this red bluish color form? In this one, the starch or the dextrin or glycogen, they adsorb with this iodine and then they give this, that color, right? So quite simple principle also. Next is acid number of the oil. So this just formula we are showing how acid number is calculated. Acid value is equal to ml of alkali multiplied by n normality of alkali multiplied by 56.1 divided by weight of sample. Percent fatty acid, free fatty acid as a oleic acid is equal to ml of the alkali multiplied by normality of alkali multiplied by 28.2 divided by weight of sample. Okay, so we will discuss again this one acid number, but if you are calculating acid number during our practical, we will get values like this castor oil 10.8, jatropha oil 13.8, neem oil 16.6. Likewise, different values you will get. Next are the test for proteins. How to perform the test? The first test is the heat coagulation test. Okay, so everybody is familiar with the boiling of eggs, right? So chicken egg, if you are taking and boiling in the water, it gives the white albumin, right? And before boiling, if you break the egg, it is like watery structure. So what happens is that the protein present in the albumin get denatured because of this heat, and this that is a heat coagulation test. Everybody familiar at the home with this heat coagulation test, right? So how to perform this test? We take the 1 ml of the test solution, for example, urine sample, which we suspect that maybe some proteinuria is there, protein is there. So that we take 1 ml test sample. We add 1 drop of acetic acid, then mix content and heat. Then if you get coagulant or foam formation, it indicates the heat coagulation test is a positive. Okay, so this is a test for protein heat coagulation test. So likewise, this positive test will indicate, right? Like if you are boiling egg, like this white coagulant you can form, right? So that is a positive test for the this protein, right? That is a protein is a present in this solution. Heller's nitric acid green test is another test for the protein. You take the 2 ml concentrated H2O nitric acid, and then you add 0.5 ml of the protein solution from the side of the test tube. If you are observing white ring at the junction of the two solution, then what it indicates? It indicates that protein is a present in that solution. Okay, white ring indicates protein. So basically, this concentrated acid, it is denaturing our protein, and now protein coagulant is forming, and it is appearing at the rings, right? The density of our solutions and our this nitric acid is a different. That is why phase separation occur, and our protein has a stays in intermediate coagulant, so it appears in the junction of the two liquids, right? So this is our coagulated protein after the Heller's nitric acid green test. Okay. So protein precipitation by heavy metal. So next method is that if you want to detect the protein, you have to precipitate, right? Protein are the soluble in the water or the solution. Next thing, if you want to detect it, you have to make them insoluble. How you can make it insoluble? We can add the heavy metals like silver nitrate or the lead acetate to this solution, few drops. And if you are observing this PPT, precipitate formation, it indicates that proteins are present in this solution. That is a protein precipitation by heavy metals. Okay. Next test is a biuret test. Take 2 ml test solution, add equal quantity, that is 2 ml of sodium hydroxide, add 2 drops of 0.5% copper sulfate, drop by drop with mixing. If you are observing purple color formation, that is a positive test for the biuret test, right? So protein are present. Biuret, this is a qualitative test. Likewise, we have quantitative test to biuret test also, right? So this one is the peptide bond, copper hydroxide, and we are getting biuret complex formation. So different peptide bond, they are interacting with the copper ion, we are getting pink or violet blue complex. Okay, so this left one is a negative test for the biuret, and right one is purple color, it indicates the positive biuret test, right? Ninhydrin test, next test for protein is a ninhydrin. Take 1 ml of the test solution. So the test solution means the sample, urine sample, which we suspect the protein may be there. Add 2 drops of freshly prepared 0.2% ninhydrin solution. So here ninhydrin we have to prepare freshly, okay? 0.2% we have to prepare, and 2 drops we have to add to this solution. We heat it for 1 to 2 minutes. If we observe blue color formation, it indicates that ninhydrin test is a positive. So this one is a amino acid, this one is a ninhydrin. So with the ninhydrin test with the amino acid, it gives the reduced ninhydrin, and this amino acid break down into this amino, this carboxylic portion, aldehyde portion, carbon dioxide, and again this ninhydrin, if we react with the amino acid, it gives the violet complex. So that is why this one is a ninhydrin test, no color change, and this one is a purple color change, positive test, how it appears, right? Next test is a Millen's test for detection of the tyrosine. It is also called Foley's test. So we have tyrosine. This is an amino acid. Okay. Whenever we are talking about the protein, so this one is the amino acid. So amino acid react with HNO3, that is a nitric acid, and it will form reaction will form like this. Okay. The nitrogen will attach here, double bond attach. Again, double bond ion OH will form with the help of mercury. This red color mercury phenolate will form. So that is red color will form in the Millen's test. It indicates that is a positive test, Millen's test. Okay, so it indicates that tyrosine is a positive present. Take 5 ml of the test solution, add 3 to 4 drops of Millen's reagent, and mix and bring it to the boiling point. Okay, if you are adding the drops and if you are observing white, if it turns into the red on boiling, it means that Millen's test is a positive. Okay, reactions principle also already we saw, and this is a test how to perform. 5 ml test solution, 3 to 4 drops of Millen's reagent, mix, boil, and then white PP turns to red. It indicates that Millen's test is a positive, tyrosine is a present. Nitroprusside test for protein. In this one, take 1 ml of the test solution, add 0.5 ml of freshly prepared 2% sodium nitroprusside solution. Okay, here 2% sodium nitroprusside solution, we have to add 5 ml, 0.5 ml, sorry. Then add 0.5 ml of the ammonium hydroxide, and all three on mixing, if it is giving brick red color formation, it indicates nitroprusside test is a positive for given protein, right? So this one is a nitroprusside reagent, this one is a cysteine amino acid, and in the presence of hydroxide, if it is giving the red color formation, then it is a positive. Okay, nitroprusside test with the cysteine amino acid. The positive test look like this, so red color formation. Next is a xanthoprotic test. In this one, we have to take 2 ml of the test solution, add 1 ml concentrated nitric acid, HNO3, mix it, PPT should form, cool, and add the 2 ml of the 20% NaOH or ammonia. And if the orange color, tryptophan or tyrosine is present. Okay. On mixing all three NaOH, concentrated HNO3, and our test sample, if you are getting orange color, it indicates that tryptophan or the tyrosine is present. Okay, the xanthoprotic test, positive test. So basically, what happens is that glucose in the presence of this gives the removes the water molecule, 5-hydroxymethyl furfural form. So with the nitric acid, 5-hydroxymethyl furfural forms. With the naphthanol, this reacts 5-hydroxymethyl furfural reacts with alpha naphthanol, and we get this color complex formation, right? Again, this color, final color complex formation, purple color dye. That is the principle of the xanthoprotic test. So negative test appear like the left, and on the right, this is a positive test, the color formation, right? Thank you. So that was about the qualitative test of the protein, right? How qualitative tests are being performed and how it is being done, right? So in our practical classes, we will actually conducting these tests, but principally you should be familiar, right?